My name is Bunmi Solano, and I'll be talking to you about how I manage my time. Have you ever noticed that there are 24 hours in a day? Those 24 hours could be spent listening to 360 songs at 4 minutes each. I could compete in 144 hot dog eating contests without stopping to protest alongside PETA because I'm a vegetarian, but I'm not that radical. I could read the entire Harry Potter book series with 11 hours per round and 2 hours left over to think about how, spoiler alert, Snape was a good guy the whole time. I could go on a 24-hour stargazing trip with only 6 hours of actual stargazing because it would take about 18 hours to find a good place to look at the stars and wait for the sun to go down. I could spend 24 hours just sitting, counting down until my next 24-hour mark when I would wonder what to do with my next given day. The present is a gift. It was a gift wrapped in very beautiful decorative paper with a bow tied to make everything pretty. Our mothers snipped that bow when we were first born, and the wrapping paper fell apart. We pulled back the flaps of that box and looked inside only to see another present inside. The wrapping paper wasn't as pretty and the box was a little bit smaller, but we opened it nonetheless, wondering what was inside. Over and over, box after box, we opened that gift. I've opened 17 boxes, but the novelty hasn't worn down yet. I may get tired of box after box, waiting for whatever is inside, but I hope that one day I'll get to the center of my Matryoshka boxes, and there might even be a little wooden baby inside. Every day is an opportunity. Literally every day is an opportunity. It only takes about 30 minutes to book a flight, and I'm sure there's money in a savings account or a college fund somewhere that would facilitate a flight to China, and then some. We don't do spontaneous things like this because we have obligations, and there's structure in society that we must all follow. We all have roles, and my role is that of a student. I've been programmed to wake up, go to school, do work, and sleep, but I've dismantled that schedule in recent years to wake up, go to sleep, wake up, go to sleep, wake up, do work, go to school, and miscellaneous. Miscellaneous has always been the most important part of my day, where I would get to do all of the things that I never get to do during school. I learn things that are valuable, and everything that's knowledgeable is at my disposal in those legitimate hours after school. Once I get started on a quest for answers, I don't see any reason to be stifled by the night or be hindered by my body's demands. Because of my stubbornness, I've begun to dread sleep, and I don't see why I should waste precious consciousness on hours of immobility when only calorie burning is accomplished. Things I like to learn are like words that we never use that often, watching documentaries about prison, learning the best strategies of poker, supporting filmmakers and modern poets and everything. I've altered my sleep schedule so much that sleep is no longer a vacation but a direct vessel from point A to B of awareness for me. Sometimes I wake up angry that I was weak enough to close my eyes when I had something really important to do, and I think, never again. My interpretation of time well spent has turned my 24-hour days into a Mobius strip of events that are seamlessly strung from one to the other, with no indication of shine or shade to disrupt the whole machine-like process. I cannot allow myself to waste time, and this attitude, coupled with my crippling procrastination, has led to some bad habits. Earlier, I said that I do work before school. The work I managed to get done is accomplished in the hours of zero period, blazed through the occasional tutorial, and patched up and completed within the confines of lunch. Study hall, when in accordance with my other classes, becomes a godsend. I work furiously and on a time schedule. Many of you may have seen me make a second home of the library in recent years, and it has become the embodiment of necessary work for me. The first thing I think of when I get home is work, but is the last thing on my priority list. I can rightfully avoid homework if I'm doing something else. Through this thinking, I have managed to spend a good 6 hours doing anything, indulging every whim and possibility, like cleaning my room, washing dishes, watching TV. anything that I like that won't occupy me for a long time so that I can start work around 2 in the morning. There's not enough time crammed into 24 hours to be a student, an athlete, and a restless 17-year-old, especially when everything is restarted once dusk folds into dawn. I told myself to abandon all distractions once I get into the car on the way to school so that I can focus on what is going on in the moment instead of what else I could be doing. School switches off the impulsive side of me and prompts tunnel vision for the rest of the day until whatever is on my to-do list has been double checked off. Once I think that I've done what I should accomplish in that 8 to 4 work period, I can go home, eager teenager, ready to unwind in a pool of activities, spending the evening being Bunmi. There's only so much time that we have and only so many boxes that we can open. Time doesn't mean anything if we don't make an effort to spend it accordingly on what pleases us. Time is the currency of life, and when I was younger I felt like a billionaire. If things were different, I would have learned German by now and would speak to strangers in Japanese. I would have written my own novel and gotten it rejected by 5 different publishers, choosing instead to illustrate a children's book. I would have learned ballet and taken gymnastics long enough to do the splits and a handspring. I would have learned how to swim earlier for those few times when it would have been really good to know how to swim. I would have run with the bulls and sailed across the Atlantic. I would have studied every religious text and understood string theory by now. I would have counted the grains of sand on the California coast and given that money in charity, that amount in dollars to charity. I would have painted the Lisa Mona and stuck it to the wall of the Market Theater gum wall in Seattle. I would have been a different person. By the time we are all old and wrinkled shells of decrepit youth and boisterousness, we should be able to look back and know that we did all that we could to live life to the fullest. My bucket list should be long and frayed, stained with marks, but my bucket list will not be completed by the day I die. My bucket list will be completed every time my 24-hour timer reaches 0, and without fail, a new one will be written every time I press reset. Thank you.